Welcome to College Briefing. The content of the briefing includes: Bill Ackman backs outsider candidates for Harvard board. Proactive approach to Taliban helps safeguard security in northwest China. Envoy. AI starts to show promise as tool to sift mountain of sustainability research. Rash of turnovers ends the Hoyas' hopes for a surprise of Seton Hall. Second half swoon leaves Terps women with rare loss to Michigan State. Bill Ackman backs outsider candidates for Harvard board. Financial Times. Hedge fund billionaire Bill Ackman is supporting a group of external candidates seeking election to Harvard University's governing body, the Board of Overseers. The Renew Harvard group is calling for changes to the university's leadership and governance, as well as support for free speech and academic standards. Ackman has previously called for the resignations of the presidents of Harvard and the University of Pennsylvania, as well as the head of MIT. The four Renew candidates will need 3,238 alumni signatures by the end of January to be placed on the ballot. Proactive approach to Taliban helps safeguard security in northwest China. Envoy. South China Morning Post. China's proactive position in Afghanistan over the past decade has helped safeguard security in its northwestern region that borders Afghanistan, according to Beijing's Special Envoy for Afghan Affairs, Yu Xiaoyong. China has defused various risks and maintained the strategic security of China's northwest periphery. One of Beijing's main concerns is the potential for Afghanistan to harbor terrorist and extremist activities that could pose a security threat, particularly to Xinjiang. China's involvement in Afghanistan has increased significantly since 2012 when Beijing and Kabul upgraded bilateral relations to a strategic partnership. AI starts to show promise as tool to sift mountain of sustainability research. Financial Times. Artificial intelligence, AI, is being used to assess the impact of business school academics research and teaching on sustainability, challenging the traditional method of measuring the value of academic papers based on the prestige of the journal they are published in. Providers of academic publishing statistics, including Web of Science and Scopus, have developed AI models to determine the relevance of journal articles to the UN Sustainable Development Goals. Wilfred Mijenhart, policy director at the Rotterdam School of Management, has created machine learning tools to score academic articles for their relationship to the SDGs. While AI has the potential to find papers that might otherwise be overlooked, it can still make basic errors such as flagging papers that include the word climate but are unrelated to sustainability. Another approach to evaluating the impact of business school academics research is to count the number of downloads from databases like the Social Science Research Network. Additionally, technology can be used to track and analyze the content of courses provided by business schools. Rash of turnovers ends the Hoyas' hopes for a surprise of Seton Hall. Washington Post. The Georgetown University men's basketball team lost 74-70 to Seton Hall University on Tuesday night. The loss put the Hoyas at 8-8 for the season and 1-4 in Big East games. Georgetown gave Seton Hall a run for its money, leading at several points in the game, but the Pirates ultimately pulled ahead in the final minutes. Second half swoon leaves Terps women with rare loss to Michigan State. Washington Post. The Michigan State Spartans secured a 74-69 victory against the Maryland Terrapins in a women's basketball game at the Breslin Center on Tuesday. This win is only the third time the Spartans have beaten the Terrapins, who previously had an 18-3 lead against Michigan State. Maryland's coach Brenda Fries was disappointed with the team's performance and said that they needed to control their emotions better in order to win high-level games. Ishikawa quake triggered by faults that were dormant for 4,000 years. Japan Times. The magnitude 7.6 earthquake that struck off the coast of Japan on New Year's Day was caused by a movement of active faults in the sea off Ishikawa Prefecture's Noto Peninsula. The faults had been dormant for 3,000 to 4,000 years, and the slipping of these faults explained the earthquake and the subsequent tsunami. The active faults are located beneath the peninsula and in the sea, causing the strong jolt and tsunami. Most of our children cannot swim to save themselves. The Sydney Morning Herald. A shocking 83% of 12-year-olds in Australia cannot tread water for 2 minutes, according to the Royal Life Saving Society Australia, RLSSA. The shortage of swimming teachers, the cost of private tuition, and the estimated loss of 10 million swimming lessons during the pandemic, bushfires, and flooding have contributed to a generation with limited water skills. Olympic champion Dr. Shane Gould argues that the way swimming is taught needs to be recalibrated, as the focus on submersion and breath-holding can cause tension and fear. The lack of swimming ability has become a matter of life and death, with 42 drowning deaths reported since December. Kirtland School's superintendent highlights 2023 academic accomplishments. Yahoo! A school district in Ohio is looking to personalize education with AI tools. The Kirtland School District aims to increase academic performance and improve writing across its curriculum. It will also look at AI tools that can help provide a personalized education for students while supporting teachers. The district has a new science lab and stadium, both funded by a 5-year permanent improvement levy that residents voted to renew and increase in 2021. The district has borrowed $385,780 for scoreboard and turf upgrades but has already received $195,100 in support from local businesses. The district is financially solid, and voters approved a 10-year, $3.74 million renewal levy for general operating expenses in May 2023. However, a 5-year forecast projects an increasing deficit to 2028 if no proposed renewal levies are approved. Key assumptions from the forecast include the district benefiting from House Bill 33, which means additional aid from the state can be expected in the following year. Israel taps top legal minds, including a Holocaust survivor, to battle genocide claim at World Court. The Toronto Star. Israel is sending top legal minds, including a Holocaust survivor, to The Hague this week to counter allegations that it is committing genocide against Palestinians in Gaza. Israel, which normally considers the United Nations and international tribunals as unfair and biased, has decided to participate in the International Court of Justice, ICJ, proceedings to prevent a potential order to halt its war against Hamas. The genocide charge strikes at the heart of Israel's national identity, as the country sees itself as a security bulwark for Jews after the Holocaust. Israel hopes that the expertise of its legal team will refute the South African claim that its military campaign in Gaza amounts to genocide. The case will likely drag on for years, but South Africa has requested the court to issue legally binding interim orders for Israel to immediately suspend its military operations in Gaza. Abiding by such a ruling would be politically costly for Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, and Israel could face UN sanctions if it fails to comply. NMSU tabs former Sam Houston State coordinator as defensive line coach. Yahoo! New Mexico State University has hired Joe Morris as the school's new defensive line coach. Morris spent the past 2 seasons at Sam Houston State University, and helped lead the team to its first FCS national title in 2021. He was promoted to co-defensive coordinator in 2022 and helped the team transition to FBS play. Morris will be joining a new coaching staff that has been put together by head coach Tony Sanchez. Mike Bianchi, after winning tainted national title, Michigan's new fight song, Hail to the Cheaters. Yahoo! Michigan's recent national championship win has been marred by cheating allegations, and Wolverines coach Jim Harbaugh's attitude after the game has angered and saddened critics. The team's reputation has been damaged following the revelation that staff member Connor Stalions had masterminded an elaborate sign-stealing scheme. Michigan had initially claimed that it would fight a Big Ten suspension of Harbaugh, but then backtracked, accepting the suspension and firing staff member Chris Partridge instead. In a recent article, Mike Bianchi of the Orlando Sentinel accused the team of cheating and stated that the only reason the team had not been punished was because it had won the national championship. He also claimed that the NCAA, the Big Ten, and Michigan itself all knew that the team had cheated. Bianchi's article has been widely read and criticized by fans, with the majority arguing that his accusations are baseless and that he has made them simply because he dislikes the Wolverines. Pastor for Hamilton MLK event, it is always right to do what's right. Yahoo! Community leaders in Hamilton, Ohio, are marking Martin Luther King Jr. Day by highlighting the ongoing relevance of the civil rights activists' messages, with a luncheon event scheduled for Friday. The event is being held at Miami University Regional's Hamilton campus, and will feature a speech by Grady Wicker Jr. Wicker said he hoped his speech would encourage people to be intentional about doing what's right, because there's a divine law attached to that. As election nears in Taiwan, many young voters say China isn't their biggest concern. CNN. As Taiwan prepares to elect a new leader, surveys show that identity, particularly the issue of Taiwan's relationship with China, may not be playing as big of a role in the outcome as it has in previous elections. Older generations, who grew up under Taiwan's authoritarian era, tend to identify more closely with their Chinese heritage. However, studies show that younger generations overwhelmingly identify as only Taiwanese. This shift in identity could be influencing the voting patterns of young people, as recent opinion polls have shown that many are now supporting a third-party candidate, Ko Wen-jae from the Taiwan People's Party. Young voters are prioritizing domestic issues, such as stagnant wages and lack of public housing, rather than the issue of Taiwan's relationship with China. They believe that the status quo will not change in the short term and that maintaining the current arrangement is the most feasible option. While livelihood issues are taking center stage in this election, young voters still recognize the threat from Beijing and the importance of defending Taiwan's democracy. They want to show the international community that Taiwan is determined to safeguard its freedoms and remains worthy of support. On a global stage, a Caps prospect became a U.S. hero and a hockey heel. Washington Post. Washington Capitals prospect Ryan Leonard scored a crucial goal to put the United States up 5-2 over Sweden in the final game of the U20 World Championship. To celebrate, Leonard whipped off his right glove and blew a farewell kiss towards the home fans. Throughout the tournament, Leonard's in-your-face style made him a frequent target for opponents, leading to him being described as the player that other teams just hated. Leonard finished the tournament with 3 goals and 3 assists in 7 games. Fellow Capitals prospect Ryan Chesley was also successful in the tournament, playing high-leverage minutes on the top defensive pair and winning gold for the first time since 2021. Chesley and Leonard are both playing college hockey in the U.S. and the Capitals retain their signing rights for 4 years after the draft. When the time comes, both are expected to turn professional, injecting additional youth and talent into Washington's organization. Chesley and Leonard have both been praised by Washington coach Spencer Carberry for their achievements and experience gained. It was known an asthma drug could induce despair in children. Many were never told. The Sydney Morning Herald. The U.S. Food and Drug Administration, FDA, has been criticized for not doing enough to warn doctors and patients about the potential dangers of the asthma and allergy medication Singulair, also known as Monteliacast. Last year, the FDA placed a warning on the drug's label regarding potential psychiatric side effects, including aggression, agitation, and suicidal thoughts. However, the warning did little to reduce prescriptions for the drug, which was taken by 12 million people across the U.S. in 2022. Singulair is particularly dangerous for children, but it is still prescribed to 1.6 million minors. The FDA had known about concerns relating to the drug for decades, but did not take action until 2020. The FDA has not required doctors to be educated about the drug's side effects. Merck, the company which makes Singulair, has denied any link between the drug and neuropsychiatric events. That's all the news for today, folks. Let's take a quick recap before we wrap up. First, we learned that billionaire hedge fund manager Bill Ackman is backing a group of external candidates seeking election to Harvard University's governing body. The Renew Harvard group is calling for changes to the university's leadership and governance, as well as support for free speech and academic standards. It will be interesting to see if these candidates can gather enough support to make it onto the ballot. Next, China's proactive position in Afghanistan over the past decade has helped safeguard security in its northwestern region that borders Afghanistan. This is an important step in preventing terrorist and extremist activities that could pose a security threat to China. China's involvement in Afghanistan has increased significantly since 2012, and it will be crucial to monitor how this relationship evolves. In the world of academia, artificial intelligence, AI, is starting to show promise as a tool to sift through the mountain of sustainability research. AI models are being used to assess the impact of academic papers on sustainability, challenging the traditional method of measuring their value based on the prestige of the journal they are published in. While AI has its limitations, it has the potential to find overlooked papers and provide a more comprehensive evaluation of research. Now, let's move on to sports. The Georgetown University men's basketball team lost a close game to Seton Hall University, putting them at 8-8 for the season. And in women's basketball, the Michigan State Spartans secured a rare victory against the Maryland Terrapins. Both teams will need to regroup and strategize for their upcoming games. Turning to natural disasters, we learned that the recent earthquake off the coast of Japan was caused by active faults that had been dormant for thousands of years. This serves as a reminder of the unpredictable nature of earthquakes and the importance of preparedness in regions prone to seismic activity. In a concerning report, it was revealed that a shocking 83% of 12-year-olds in Australia cannot tread water for 2 minutes. This lack of swimming ability is a matter of life and death, with drowning deaths on the rise. It's clear that more needs to be done to prioritize water safety education and access to swimming lessons for children. Shifting gears to education, the Kirtland School District in Ohio is looking to personalize education with AI tools. These tools aim to increase academic performance and improve writing across the curriculum, while also providing a personalized education for students. It's exciting to see how technology can enhance the learning experience and support both students and teachers. In international news, Israel is sending top legal minds, including a Holocaust survivor, to The Hague to counter allegations of genocide against Palestinians in Gaza. This case will likely drag on for years, but it's a significant moment for Israel to defend its actions and national identity on the world stage. Lastly, we learned that as Taiwan prepares for an election, younger voters are prioritizing domestic issues over the issue of Taiwan's relationship with China. This shift in identity and focus could have implications for the outcome of the election, as young voters show support for third-party candidates. It's important to recognize the evolving priorities and perspectives of different generations. That's all for today's news. What are your thoughts on these stories? Do you have any questions or comments? I'm here to discuss with you, so feel free to share your ideas. Thank you for tuning in. The content above showcases the latest briefing reports and analytical synopses, thoughtfully curated by the 6Do team. These insights stem from a wide array of reputable media outlets, think tanks, government sources, and specialized experts worldwide. We encourage you to explore these sources for a comprehensive perspective. Keep in mind that while the content may not always align with the official standpoint of 6Do Brief, it's not meant to be taken as absolute directives for decision-making. Comprising seasoned media professionals, learned scholars, and accomplished scientists, the 6Do team embodies a trailblazing, fully independent media entity. To customize 6Do Brief to meet your professional needs, you have the option to subscribe to a diverse array of briefings on our website, 6dobrief.com. Regardless of your location, you can conveniently receive 6Do Brief via email.